What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I'm going to be answering the call of the tower as we talk about the world after the fall. Now, the world after the fall, this one is published by Ize Press, which is a imprint of Yen Press that focuses on Korean series. So The World After the Fall is a Korean manhwa slash webtoon. And yeah, so first of all, shout out to Ize Press slash Edelweiss for giving me access to a digital review copy of this series. And so, before I fully dive into the series, a while back, I came across it as I was, because y'all know, those of y'all that might have followed me for a while, y'all know I'm always keeping my eye out, just looking ahead of like, okay, what's coming up in the future that I might want to review or talk about or whatever. And so I came across this a while back, but didn't think too much about it. I was like, I was like, the cover looks pretty cool, but, it just didn't speak to me for whatever reason. So I, went past it. Then the other day, circle back, I was like, okay, let me see what else is on the radar coming up soon. And this came across my eyes again. So I was like, you know what? Let me just slow down and look into it. And one thing that I found out, the biggest thing that put it back on my radar, is that I found out that this series comes to us from the same creator as Omniscient Reader. Now, while I haven't read Omniscient Reader myself yet, I have heard nothing but great things. So when I saw that in the kind of like description, I was like, oh, maybe I need to look more into this series. And so I did. This is the reason why I'm even recording this. So, The World After the Fall is a series that within a couple of pages, they waste no time. It goes 0 to 100 just out the gate. Because the setup for the story is that one day out of the blue, these giant towers start cropping up in cities all over the world. And of course, everybody's freaking out. Hey, you just going about your normal day, and a giant tower, ominous looking tower, just pops up out the ground. And people start getting a little message prompt in front of them saying, hey, please respond to the tower's call if you wish to prevent humanity's annihilation. And so, like I said, this is all within like a couple of pages. And so, immediately, I kind of perked up and dove into the series. Now, I was reading this at work because it was a slow day yesterday, whatever. And I was kind of looking through like what I had coming up, whatever. And I got the email saying, hey, here's access to the Word After the Fall. So I'm like, you know what? It's a little bit slow. Let me just, check out a couple pages. And a couple hours later, I came out on the other side because this first volume, it is jam-packed with 10 chapters, 288 pages, and much like our MC, which I believe his name is pronounced Jae-won, I was intrigued. I didn't know what to believe, what was real, what all happened in the story across these 10 chapters, but I was nonetheless enthralled because, like I said, you get this prompt or whatever, and a bunch of people, of course, hit accept, and they get transported into their respective towers depending on what area they are around the world. And thus, these people, they get presented with items and weapons and skills and all this stuff, and they begin their ascension through the tower thinking that they are on a journey to save humanity. And they become known as tower walkers. Um, and first of all, when they first get into the tower, there are these screens that show them what is happening in the real world outside of the tower. And there are these events happening called tower impacts, which is basically just like these monsters and demons and stuff just like attacking humanity. It is just chaos and devastation, and thus seeing that kind of just pushes these people to, okay, hey, we need to ascend this tower and try to go on this journey to save humanity. Well, throughout the tower or throughout this journey, which many years pass, like years. I'm not talking about 1 or 2, I'm talking about some years pass as these people are ascending this tower. And they end up coming across this gemstone that says that, hey, if you want to, you can use the stone to take all of your powers and everything that you've acknowledged and stuff and go back to the beginning and basically start over. Because it's like, hey, you reached a point in the tower where it's tough, you're having difficulty progressing. Well, I guess kind of like a new game plus, except for you didn't beat the game, so to speak. And so some people choose to do that, not really knowing where they're really going, if this is all really true or not. But a lot of the characters continues forward. And that is the basic setup and premise for the world after the fall. And yeah, like I said, it just immediately, because of course with this being a manhwa, a webtoon, it is full color, so it looks beautiful. The action, the world, the just the intrigue of, like I said, when you have a story that just immediately just starts off with just like, hey, towers are popping up. Hey, press yes or no if you want to save humanity. And so, yeah, that is basically how things start off with this series. Now there are some twists and turns that I will get into in a little bit when I get into spoilers. Because I definitely need to talk about that. But I will say, if you are somebody who likes a series that wastes no time getting to the ish, and you just want to know, it's like a adrenaline rush of like boom, surprise, all this stuff is happening. What is going on? People dying, people teleporting, saying they're going back to the past. It's a lot of stuff going on, but there is just this steady thread of intrigue pulling you along. Then check out The World After the Fall. Now, we have to dive into a little bit of spoilers because so much stuff happened that I had to start taking notes about a little bit ways into reading this or whatever. And so, like I said, if anything I've said so far intrigues you, I encourage you to look out for this series. The physical volumes are coming out, I believe middle of November, or by the time this post, it should be out relatively soon. So, but just look it up. It should be out relatively soon from the point in time y'all are seeing this or listening to this. So go check it out now. For those of you that either you just want to hear more about it, or maybe you've already read it. So, midway through, we get a huge reveal because so like towards, I guess when he gets close to floor like 98 or whatever, he kind of starts to question some things that is happening, that is going on. And one of the beasts that he is fighting at the time is like, if only y'all hadn't been fooled by the nightmare stones. And of course he's like, nightmare stones, like what are you talking about? Like the stones I mentioned earlier, that I think it's called like the it's not resurrection, it's something starts with the R stone. But basically we find out once he reaches the last level of the tower and beats like the final boss and gets to like level 100, the final floor, seemingly, he encounters this demon named Beast Rain. And it gets revealed that the true nature of this tower is called the Nightmare Tower. and that the regression stone, that's what it was called. But this tower was a trap created by another demon called the Dream Demon, and apparently everything in the outside world is actually fine. Because the demon, Beast Rain, is like, hey, no, here's some footage of what's going on in the outside world. And people are just living their normal lives. Everything's cool. And so the images and stuff that they saw at the very beginning was all a lie. And so of course that messes with the MC's mind. He's kind of like, wait, what do you mean that was all fake? And inside of the tower, it's been decades, like 20 plus years, maybe 30, but 20 plus years or so, I think, has passed inside of the tower. 10, 20 years have passed. And it's revealed that everybody that is basically inside of the tower is kind of like a game. So everybody that's been trapped in the towers or whatever, their real bodies are actually in hospitals all around the world in a coma. And so while it's been decades inside the tower, it has only been maybe like a month or a couple months in the real world in real time. And so, yeah. And so this demon, Beast Rain, basically he is trying to convince Jawan to continue. Oh, and also, I forgot the first thing that was revealed before all of that or whatever, once he got to the top floor, is that everything that he has experienced for seemingly decades was all the tutorial for a even bigger game that's going on. And so he's like, man, so all these people that he thought has died and all these years he thinks that's passed, this was all a tutorial. And he is the only person from his world, from this world on Earth, which they called World 294, that has cleared the tower. And so Beast Rain is trying to convince him, like, hey, you've completed the tower. If you want to truly get out of here, whatever, now you got to play the real game. And so Jawan was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And so he spent more time trying to train to beat the actual demon, because the demon, like the level of power disparity between the demon and our MC was so great that all the monsters and stuff and beasts and stuff that he's encountered over these decades traversing ascending this tower is nothing compared to Beast Rain. And so he's like, no, I'm not going to play this main game. I'm going to beat you. And so days, weeks, however long go by, whatever, he's training. He comes back every day, tries to take him on. He loses. He goes back, trains, and rinse and repeat. And so during this process, he starts to, like I said, like a little bit earlier when he started kind of like the second guess of like, something here doesn't seem right or whatever. He's questioning things, and that kind of gives him a I guess you kind of call it like a sense of insight into the tower and its true nature. And so through him gaining this insight, which I gotta find out what it was called, awakening. So he basically awakens and starts to, like I said, like get a better and a higher understanding of what is really happening, and things of that nature. And that ends up getting him the ability to beat Beast Rain and ascend outside of the tower, because basically the tower is basically a small part of this greater thing called the Tree of Illusion. And so all these different towers, all these different little locations everywhere are feeding into this, I guess metaphorically, this kind of like tree trunk of an area that connects to this higher, greater realm or whatever. And so if you traverse through these towers, which are basically kind of like the roots of the tree, so to speak, then if you can break out of that and get into the higher areas, then you can start the actual real journey towards the great realm. And so, yeah, so just getting all of these reveals and stuff, whatever, was just so freaking insane. Um, and towards the end of the volume, when he kind of, when he breaks out and then he ends up in this area called Chaos and he meets these other travelers and stuff, whatever, he is so broken and OP that, and also he doesn't really have like a true full understanding and grasp of everything that's going on, of all his abilities and powers and stuff, whatever, because he also has like this rare weapon that he got from one of the bosses that he can actually feed other items and stuff to. It's basically kind of like a mythical, magical sort of weapon or whatever and stuff. So, but yeah, it all in all, it was a blast reading, and also like I said, just like makes me very eager to go back and to check out Omniscient Reader, because I'm like, if he put in, if this is what I get from the world after the fall, I need to see what else these people that worked on this did with Omniscient Reader, because like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about that. So I'm definitely, that was already kind of on my radar of something I wanted to check out eventually. But after reading this, that put that high on my priority list as well and stuff. So yeah, so I'm very excited to check out that, and I'm interested to see like where things go from here with the world after the fall, because like I said, this was a jam-packed first volume that covered so freaking much, but it did a great job, like I said, of wasting no time doing the setup, getting right into the situation, and then taking us on a journey um, through this tower, through these supposed years of these people going on a adventure to, the reality of our MC being shattered, and everything that he thought was true for supposedly years and decades was all a lie. Humanity outside the towers is seemingly fine, and now he's hot on a journey through the greater realm, to see what else is going on and to get bigger and better understanding. But that's gonna do it for this one. Like I said, this is a little bit lengthier of a review, but like I said, I had a lot to talk about with this one, and it was well worth the time. So yeah. So as always, thank you so much for watching and or listening. And as always, make sure you're subscribed to the video if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast feed so you can get the audio version of this and all my other reviews and my podcast as well. And with that, I hope that y'all enjoyed, and let me know, have you already read The World Before the Fall or The World After the Fall, or have you read their other work, Omniscient Reader? And let me know what you think of those series. And so once again, thank you so much to Ize Press and Edelweiss for giving me access to this, and so many other things. But with that, I am out. Y'all have an awesome day, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.